Day 16. Get to talk about favorite movies and TV shows and such. So, I have not watched a lot of TV in the last 20 some odd years, so all my stuff are going to be quite old and dated. But, um, I'm a Star Wars guy and I like Star Trek. They are definitely some of my favorite sci fi. um, when it comes to TV shows, I was more into anime, and but Buck Rogers was uh, a series I really enjoyed. Trying to think of sitcoms. I used to like Different Strokes and Silver Spoons. What else? I mean, these. I also like some of the really old stuff. The Dick Van Dyke Show. I actually like that, and the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Uh, the old Wonder Woman TV series with Linda Carter. That was a favorite of mine, and for some obvious reasons. um, but the things that I truly think about and enjoy, excuse me, um, is the manga stuff. So, uh, Maison Ikoku, Ayori Aoshi, um, Marmalade Boy, uh, Kimigaru, Orange Road. Uh, there's a lot of them. Believe it or not, Appleseed and Dirty Pair is what got me into anime. Uh, Akira, the movie that people know about, was quite a bit after I got into it. So this back in the 80s, where you had to bootleg it. Uh, Getting these, it wasn't here in the States, and it was all in Japanese. So I didn't know it Japanese, but I enjoyed the art and kind of got the sense of what was being said. And with enough effort, you could find people who were writing translations that you could read uh, while you're watching the movie, but generally you read it before or after, so you knew what was being generally said and got the clues. I think one of my most favorite anime movies is Project Echo. It's quite old, but it's a parody on what would happen if Superman and Wonder Woman had a kid. And there's aliens and all kinds of crazy stuff in it. It's a very funny comedy. High school kid angst, and that's the age I was. So I enjoyed that pieces. But anime was one of those things. It wasn't just what like Robotech. It was very famous here. It's actually three Japanese anime series that was put together by Harmony Gold, um, which I love Robotech. Don't get me wrong, but it's a different story. Uh, I just remembered this. So when I was about 5, I guess, right around there, I was exposed to Johnny Sacco, which was a Japanese TV series that I loved with this pharaoh-like giant robot, and the kid would talk into a watch and command the robot to, save the day, generally getting rid of some sort of big monster. Um, but Speed Racer was the anime that set me up to get hooked on anime because it was highly Americanized. It was about the Mach 5, the car, and they turned it around when they brought it over here to the US and made it more about the building of the car and the races and such. So it was highly edited. Um, but I was watching that when I was 5. So it, I was doomed. I was going to like anime, and uh, that is my favorite genre, followed by sci-fi and such. But uh, that I can't say there's outstanding TV shows. I wasn't a fan of Stargate because to me, it wasn't about mm, the science and future. It was about humans trying to control this tech. You know, uh, it was I it 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 was too mundane in my opinion. I just couldn't get into it. Uh, Babylon 5, I watched some of, but again, I couldn't quite get into it. Quantum Leap, that was a fun one. Um, so, I mean, there's a lot of them to love and enjoy. From I would, the last one I really paid attention to was Star Trek Enterprise. I really loved Archer in there and how they went before the Federation and started building the story and made the Vulcans not so nice. Um, so it's it's kind of my thing. Those are things I enjoy. Today, I am much more a book person. Um, things that are quote contemporary would be like Harry Potter. I love the books. Lots, lots of stuff in the books that are great. The movies suck. uh, I, I don't see how any of them got awards. They're terrible. But, from that kind of point, that early 2000s, TV just got, in my opinion, too childish, or I grew up, one of the two. Um, but yeah, I from that point on, I really haven't watched much. I still occasionally try to watch anime with my blindness. You can't get any kind of audio description, which is about the only way I can tolerate TV and new movies now. Because listening to 5 minutes of music and noises and booms, it's just not that exciting. It's Alien was a very popular sci-fi movie. I hate it because it had no audio description. It was dark. I couldn't see anything. And dialogue. What's dialogue? I don't know what. So I would fall asleep on that thing in 20 minutes. So I'm a kind of a picky viewer now, pun intended. Uh, there is more audio description now that's available, but it's a far cry from what's out there. And it's tough to get right. So I just prefer books. So that is uh, what I like. You know, if anyone watches this, I'd love to hear what you like, particularly if you approach it from a novel viewpoint. That would be kind of really interesting. Um, we can all talk about storylines and such, but media has a accessibility facet to it, and we aren't addressing it. And so, people who have color problems or can't hear well or have speech processing problems, or there's just so many ways it could go wrong, and that segment of the audience is pretty much left out.